In this video, we're taking a look at the Sculpfun V5, one of the most thoughtfully designed UV laser engravers I've tested so far. I'll show you what sets it apart from the competition, and then we'll put it through a wide range of engraving tests to see how it performs on different materials. I'll show you why this laser is one of the best tools available for creating custom merchandise of virtually any kind. Even before I started assembling the machine, I noticed a feature that I haven't seen on any other galvo-style laser engraver. The mounting bracket for the lifting column contains a small printed circuit board that mates with spring-loaded contacts on the column itself. These contacts supply power to the lifting motor, eliminating the need for an external cable like those found on most other machines. Not only does this make the setup much cleaner, but it also prevents cables from getting tangled during operation. As I continued the assembly, I discovered another clever design feature. On the lifting platform, there's a small grub screw that allows you to precisely adjust the angle of the laser head, ensuring that it sits perfectly parallel to the work table. This helps maintain consistent engraving performance across the entire work area. With other engravers, I've often had to use shims and spend time manually leveling the head, so this is a very welcome addition. Once the machine was assembled, I took a closer look at the included accessories. Inside the package, you get safety glasses, a detailed assembly and operation manual for both LightBurn and Sculpfun's SGD laser software, several test materials, a USB drive containing settings files, and a USB security key that prevents unauthorized use. My package also included a sample crystal engraving, a blank crystal for testing, and the 70mm lens used for 3D inner glass engraving. The standard lens supplied with the machine is the 150mm lens. In addition, you get positioning brackets, bubble levels, cables, and a measuring ruler. On the right side of the machine, there's a conveniently placed emergency stop button. On the opposite side, you'll find controls for adjusting the focus height. The laser head itself features two buttons that allow you to select the correct red laser pointer depending on which lens is installed. There's also a laser source enable switch and a control for the red light preview output. One interesting detail I noticed is that the entire machine is assembled using stainless steel screws, which should help it maintain its appearance over time. Another thing that impressed me is the manual focusing mechanism. When turning the focus adjustment knob, it rotates with very little resistance because the internal mechanism somehow decouples it from the motor. This makes manual adjustments much easier compared to conventional systems where you're also turning the motor itself. The laser source is air-cooled using several small fans. On the rear of the machine, you'll find connectors for accessories, the USB safety key, a USB connection for the computer, and a Wi-Fi antenna. With the assembly complete, it was time to start testing. The first material I tried was laser engravable tamper-proof sticker tape. The Sculpfun V5 uses a red light preview instead of the UV beam for positioning, making it very easy to see exactly where the engraving will appear. This material engraves beautifully. It's also easy to dial in cutting settings that cut through the sticker without damaging the backing layer. The result is a professional tamper-proof sticker that breaks into multiple pieces when someone attempts to remove it. One of the biggest advantages of UV lasers is their ability to engrave an extremely wide variety of materials. This makes them ideal for producing promotional products and custom merchandise. Plastic items such as disposable lighters engrave beautifully and only take a few seconds to complete. Another excellent business opportunity is engraving cosmetic jar lids. These engrave exceptionally well and produce a professional-looking finish. Most white plastics also engrave very nicely. This vitamin bottle produced excellent results, making it suitable for everything from branding logos to expiry dates and product information. Some transparent plastics, such as this plastic ruler, can also be engraved successfully. However, not every plastic behaves the same way. Certain opaque plastics, like this container, don't respond nearly as well. ABS plastics, including bottle caps and shaker containers, engrave particularly well. Since UV lasers work by breaking chemical bonds rather than generating heat, They can create extremely smooth and durable engravings. A while ago, I attended a local trade fair and collected many different ballpoint pens. This seemed like the perfect opportunity to test how well the Sculpfun V5 handles a variety of pen materials. Every pen required slightly different settings, but it usually took only a few attempts to achieve a good result. I saved all of these settings into a LightBurn material library, and you'll find a download link in the video description if you'd like to try them yourself. To better evaluate the results, I grouped the pens according to their construction materials. The first category consisted of wooden pens. These are easy to engrave and allow for different engraving depths and visual effects. Overall, the results looked excellent. The next category included metal barrel pens. Here, you can either remove the paint or coating to expose the metal underneath, or engrave directly onto the coating itself, as I did with the black and white examples. Exposing the underlying metal generally produces the best-looking and most durable results. The third category was rubber-coated pens. Just like the metal pens, removing the coating to expose the material underneath can create very attractive engravings. However, some lighter-colored rubber coatings can also be engraved directly, producing a more subtle appearance. The final category consisted of hard plastic pens. Most of these engraved very well, although certain plastics required slightly more aggressive settings compared to standard white plastics. The only material that didn't produce a satisfying result was the transparent pen. Aside from that, the engravings looked excellent. I especially liked the effect on this green pen, where the engraving developed a gold-colored appearance. Pens are one of the most popular promotional products available, and most of them engrave quickly and produce excellent results. Once again, you'll find all of my engraving parameters in the video description. Another interesting application for the Sculpfun V5 is engraving soft drink cans. These can be customized for events, promotions, or giveaways. The UV laser creates a bright white engraving that looks almost factory-made. Next, I engraved a business card holder made from cork. Like wood, cork engraves beautifully and produces a very professional-looking result. I also tested engraving the polished metal body of the holder. Initially, I used a powerful pass to break the surface layer, but this produced a brown discoloration that wasn't particularly attractive. I then repeated the engraving using an additional high-speed cleaning pass. The difference was immediately noticeable, and the final engraving looked significantly better. The mark is permanent and should remain intact for a very long time. Pocket knives are another excellent promotional item. I created a deep engraving in the wooden handle and engraved a small logo on the stainless steel blade. The engraving on the wood was incredibly sharp, and the grain structure created a beautiful visual effect. The logo on the stainless steel blade also turned out very nicely. I also purchased several stainless steel mini hip flasks for testing. In this case, I managed to optimize the settings even further, producing a clean engraving without any brown discoloration. The results look fantastic. UV lasers are also very effective for engraving anodized aluminum. One particularly attractive application is producing custom keychains and dog tags. Imagine bringing the Sculpfun V5 to a dog show and engraving personalized dog tags on demand. I think a lot of people would be interested in that. Aluminum pill containers and earplug holders also make great customizable promotional products. Golf is another area where people are often willing to spend extra money on personalized equipment and accessories. Golf balls engrave exceptionally well, and laser engraving is far more durable than printed markings. As I've shown in previous videos, fabrics such as jeans and sports towels can also be engraved successfully. Sports towels are especially interesting because they allow you to create durable, professional-looking custom designs that could be sold at sporting events or given away as gifts to participants. For business-oriented gifts, leather notebooks are another great option. This example is made from faux leather, but genuine leather typically engraves even better. I've demonstrated UV laser engraving on leather in some of my previous videos as well. For more casual gifts, ceramic mugs can also be engraved. Some ceramic mugs, like this one, engrave extremely well, while cheaper alternatives that only imitate ceramic tend to produce poorer results. A bit of testing is required to find the best products. The engraving itself turns bright white and looks very attractive. UV lasers can also engrave stone. Slate coasters engrave beautifully and produce durable markings. With longer engraving times, it's also possible to create substantial engraving depth. Finally, just for fun, I engraved a gray plastic wall clock. To my surprise, the engraving came out extremely dark and looked absolutely fantastic. I was genuinely impressed with the result. Next, I switched to the 70mm lens, which is designed for embedded 3D crystal engraving. While doing so, I discovered another thoughtful feature of the Sculpfun V5. By simply pressing a button on the laser head, you can instantly switch between the two red positioning lasers, one for each lens. Since the 70mm lens has a much shorter focal distance, the laser head needs to be lowered considerably. This is where another advantage of the Sculpfun V5 becomes apparent. The laser head can be lowered much farther than on most competing machines. Because of this, there is no need for spacers or riser blocks when using the 70mm lens, making setup much more convenient. All of my previous engravings were created using LightBurn. However, for 3D crystal engraving, I switched to Sculpfun's own software called SGD Laser. The software is intuitive and can handle all of your engraving needs if you don't want to purchase LightBurn. For 3D crystal engraving, all you need to do is import a 3D model, define the dimensions of the crystal, position the model inside the workpiece, verify the placement using the preview function, and start the engraving process. I used the Sculpfun glass crystal kit for this job. Another nice addition is the illuminated display stand, which highlights the engraving beautifully and gives it a much more premium presentation. What surprised me most was the engraving speed. This particular crystal engraving took only about 10 minutes to complete. I had expected the process to take closer to half an hour, so the speed was genuinely impressive. The final result looks incredible. Viewed from the front, the level of detail is truly impressive, with sharp features and excellent depth. As with all UV laser systems, the side profile appears slightly blurred, but that's completely normal for this type of engraving technology. Overall, I'm very impressed with the Sculpfun V5. It's a thoughtfully designed laser engraver, and it's clear that a lot of attention was given to the small details that improve both usability and performance. Those design choices really help it stand out from the competition. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Sculpfun V5 and whether it's a machine you'd consider adding to your workshop.